It's been a whole week of
A Homeland Security spokesperson denies reports that the secretary is backing a project where immigrants compete for citizenship in the United States. Secretary Kristi Noem's department acknowledges that a pitch for the reality show called The American exists, but says Noem has not backed the show. The department says it receives hundreds of pitches a year for shows ranging from documentaries to reality TV. DHS spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin says that she has spoken to the producer, but no decision has been made on the pitch.
Two mothers are accused of leaving 4 small children, including a 7-month-old baby, in a parked car while they went drinking at a bar in Arizona.
I really thought it was only 10 minutes. I thought we were going in and out.
I've been here for an hour.
I'm sorry. I didn't have my phone on me.
A woman flagged down officers after spotting a small child wandering around the parking lot. The mothers returned to the car about 45 minutes later, saying they left to use a restroom. They eventually admitted stopping at the bar for a drink.
What time did you guys get here?
Like 15 minutes ago?
That's a lie.
That's the
We've
time
been
that we got
standing
here.
with these kids for over 45 minutes by themselves.
Police say while they were looking for an ID, they popped open the glove box and found a bag of marijuana. All 4 children were placed into the custody of the Department of Child Safety in Arizona.
For the first time in over 40 years, the New Jersey train transit is sitting idle on the tracks. The massive transit system makes nearly 1 million weekday trips, including into New York City. Engineers agreed to strike at 12:01 this morning after not reaching a deal on wages with New Jersey Transit. NBC's Emily Ikeda shares plans to bring the strike to an end.
Overnight, one of the country's biggest transportation systems screeching to a halt as train engineers for New Jersey Transit walked off the job after salary negotiations failed, their first statewide strike in more than 40 years.
We presented them the last proposal. They rejected it and walked away with 2 hours left on the clock.
The strike across the massive system serving New Jersey, New York, and the Philadelphia area, leaving hundreds of thousands of commuters now scrambling to find other options.
I get worried about when the train's late. A strike is a whole new level. I'm going to freak out.
It comes just a week before one of the busiest travel weekends of the year. The sticking point, wages. New Jersey Transit's 450 train engineers say they haven't gotten a raise in 5 years and make at least $10 less per hour than engineers who work for other railroad companies sharing the same train platforms. While New Jersey and the company contend cost cutting is necessary and urging engineers to come back to the negotiating table.
Let's get back to the table and seal a deal. The workers and families who rely on our transit system every single day are the backbone of our entire economy.
New Jersey Transit encouraging regular commuters to work from home and adding more buses to the road. But with the overwhelming flood of passengers, riders are bracing for Friday commuter chaos.
That was Emily Ikeda reporting, and that bus service will be prepared to operate Monday to support essential service. But the governor says that bus system can only service about 20% of the current rail customers.
The Bimbay Cultural Arts Festival is an iconic celebration of African and African American heritage, and this year marks its 55th anniversary. WRAL is a proud media partner. A group of students and community members started Bimbay in 1969. They wanted to celebrate the West African culture and Festival of Harvest. Each year after the harvest, there would be a huge celebration of dancing and food. Organizers say it's an honor to continue that legacy.
Yeah, I love seeing the intergenerational connection and bond that Bimbay allows families to have. So there are grandparents who was like, I came to Bimbay when I was in college, and now I'm bringing my grandkids and my kids with me. And then also this year, hopefully we'll have great weather, but Durham comes out regardless, whether it rains or shines or is super hot. Like Durham comes out to support Bimbay because they just love it so much.
Don't miss this year's headliner, Grammy-nominated artist Raheem DeVaughn at this year's Bimbay Cultural Arts Festival. It kicks off tomorrow at 1 p.m. at Rock Quarry Park in Durham, and admission is free.
All kinds of festivals going on. It's just that time of year, right? So as we sit on this Friday and we're looking towards the weekend, Kat Campbell here in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Got to get past this weather alert day and see what's on tap for us.
Well, you know, with all those things happening outside this weekend, I do want to reassure everybody that there will be a lot more dry hours this weekend than those with showers and storms around. A couple opportunities for rain tomorrow. The issue is that any storms that pop up are going to have an environment where they could become severe. 93 the high. It's hot and it's humid tomorrow. Less humid Sunday, but still hot out there. So just keep that in mind. It's also going to be a bit breezy tomorrow, so that's going to help the wind with the heat at least. There's a level 2 threat for severe storms tomorrow from Raleigh east and a level 1 threat to the west. This map will be updated at 1:30 today, so check in for an update. I'm curious to see how this plays out because this setup's a bit interesting. We have something called a cap in the atmosphere. This is what's going to limit storms developing in the first place. You've got a layer of warm air in the atmosphere, and it prevents the clouds sometimes from growing taller. You can break out of that if it gets hot enough, but otherwise we've got everything you need for severe weather to form. So that's the concern here. Even though the storms may not be widespread, any that pop up could strengthen very quickly. There's an opportunity for some rain first thing in the morning, and there could be some storms in the morning as well. These would have to hold together from the mountains and get here in the morning. Then we should get a little bit of a break. You see the small chance of a storm during the afternoon. I don't think that this would impact the triangle. I would say this would be south and east of the triangle, mainly east of I-95, maybe toward Fayetteville and Sampson County. A live look outside right now. We've got some cloud cover, so I did go ahead and lower the high today. Regardless, it is hot. 87 already in Raleigh, 81 in Garner, 84 in Cary, 80 in Durham, 87 in Zebulon, as well as Clayton. So you can see cloud covers having a big impact on temperatures right now. Today's highs will be in the lower 90s still. It is a steamy day out there, definitely feeling like summer. While we've got about a 30% chance of a storm as the kids are heading home from school, I do want to reassure you it's mostly dry. Most kids are going to be A-OK getting off the bus today. We don't have anything imminent on the dual Doppler 5000 radar. Right now, we got some storms off to our north and west that we are going to have to continue to monitor. We are also expecting an update to today's risk map in terms of the severe weather risk. That will be coming out in about 10 minutes. I'll have a hit right at the top of the 12:30 news to let you know if we've seen any change to that map. Today's our WRAL weather alert day. It's the 5th of the week. We're holding off on tomorrow for now. We'll have an update on that once we get to our afternoon newscast to get some new data in. By Sunday and Monday, rain chances are lower, and then by the middle of next week, humidity jumps back up, storm chances return, but they should be in a more scattered fashion. Many of us have seen now 2 to 4 inches of rain this week. Needless to say, I think we could all use a break. At least we should get a little one on the way Sunday and Monday.
Absolutely. A little reprieve from the rain, and also nice to see those temperatures going down. That won't stay in the 90s, right? Coming up on WRAL News at 4 p.m., a man charged in connection with a missing teenage girl from Michigan located in Raleigh. What we're learning today about the case.
And then at 5 p.m., better, but still a B. See which restaurant is making improvements, but still scored another B on this week's Health Inspection restaurant ratings. Denver Airport goes dark. Air traffic controllers lost contact with pilots for up to 6 minutes. How the mishap is adding to issues in the troubled air travel system.
And TikTok timeout. The social media app launches a new feature in the face of criticism over the app's effect on children. How one feature is expected to trigger better sleep. Rite Aid is clearing its shelves. The bankrupt company has sold most of its pharmacy services nationwide to CVS, Walgreens, and others. Earlier this month, Rite Aid filed for bankruptcy for the second time. The company's CEO says the sell-off will benefit its pharmacy customers and preserve jobs for Rite Aid employees. CVS made the most purchases, picking up prescription files for more than 600 locations. The Justice Department is conducting a criminal probe into how Live Nation and sports and music entertainment company AEG handled concerts that were canceled at the start of the pandemic in 2020. The investigation is focused on whether the companies colluded on refund policies. Live Nation denies any collusion and says it's not illegal for artists, promoters, and ticketing companies to work together to solve the unprecedented challenges of a global pandemic.
TikTok is introducing several features designed with young users in mind as the company faces public pressure. A new wind down prompt will interrupt the For You feed of all users under 18 and direct them to meditation exercises and other well-being features. Earlier this week, TikTok also introduced new educational feeds, online safety tools, and enhanced parental controls over screen time.
Pricey produce. When one supply chain expert says customers can expect to see an increase at the cash register.
And the summer scaries. Many parents experience this at the end of every school year. We'll share ways to combat some of the biggest concerns parents have heading into summer break. And here, have a look at your NC Education winning lottery numbers. We'll be right back.
Today is WRAL Weather Alert Day. Our chance of storms goes up later this afternoon.
Meteorologist Kat Campbell is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at how this might affect some evening commute folks.
And, you know, I think that would mainly be in the northwestern part of our area for the evening commute. So we're going to be watching areas like Person County very closely around that time, Mecklenburg County, Vance County, as well as Granville counties. Let's take a look at the big picture here. So we've got this complex of storms that we're watching for this evening, but the cold front is still off to our west, and that's going to generate more of these thunderstorm complexes in the days ahead. Here comes this first one that we're watching right now. All of the orange that you see here, that's a severe thunderstorm watch in the western part of our state. And the upper level winds are the lines that you see moving on this map. And that's what's steering this complex of storms. And that's why it's likely going to arrive in the northern part of our viewing area. I was just looking over some of the new model data. And if we were to see storms around the triangle, and again, I think that the best chance is going to be toward the Virginia border. Models have been pretty consistent on hourly runs with something in the area around 9 o'clock for Wake County. So we're going to watch that time frame for you tonight. Today, it's a level 1 threat for severe storms, mainly from the triangle points north up into Virginia, a level 2 threat. I'll have an update on your weekend coming up shortly.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, following some breaking news right now, the House Budget Committee just rejected President Trump's agenda bill. The vote in the Budget Committee was 16-21, 5 Republicans joining all Democrats to vote against the multi-trillion-dollar legislation. Republican leaders even saying that it really just wasn't ready to be passed, and critical changes will be need to be made to tax and Medicaid provisions. Negotiations and GOP holdouts will likely continue in the next couple of days, and Republicans will try to meet again on Monday.
You might have noticed new signs in the produce section of your local grocery store warning about a potential increase in the price of your produce. Chelsea Swift talked with a supply chain expert on what this could mean for people.
The 10% universal tax is really what's going to be driving a lot of produce to go up.
In response to the tariffs, a spokesperson from Wegmans releasing this statement reading in part, while the total impact on our business remains unclear, we anticipate prices on impacted products will fluctuate.
It's not only the price of food per se, but it's the inputs that go into actually sometimes getting the food. You know, the labor, the fertilizer, the fuel. Those costs have been going up, and that will unfortunately make the price of food go up also.
Wegmans is not alone. Tops also featured signs that stated customers can expect the price of bananas to fluctuate. And on Thursday, Walmart announced that prices are expected to rise later this month. Supply chain expert Patrick Penfield says tariffs could impact the price of produce in the near future.
That can cause disruptions and cause issues within the supply chain. So right now we have a pause with China. And hopefully, we'll start to see some of these agreements come in place. And I think once that settles down, then I think pricing will settle down. But unfortunately, I think we're on a little bit of a roller coaster of pricing probably for the next 6 months or so.
Penfield says tariffs on China will impact the price of some items.
Apple juice, ginger, those are probably two main things. And, you'll see a 30% tariff on that. So overall, food prices will go up, probably not as much as what we'll see in the retail stores with just retailer products.
Florida is now the second state to ban fluoride in public drinking water. Governor Ron DeSantis signed that bill into law. He says putting fluoride into public water is basically forcing medication on people. Florida Surgeon General says more than 70% of people in Florida who use public systems get water with added fluoride. Utah was the first state to ban fluoride.
What's next for Ligon Middle School? Families and architects are working to settle on a future for Raleigh's historically black school, which has been marked for redevelopment. Last night, more than 60 people showed up to give their input during a community meeting. Many of them stand in favor of renovating the school rather than tearing it down. That includes Dorothy Thompson, who was class of 1964 when Ligon Mill was an all-black high school.
This place needs to stay and stand to represent the history of this country that we live in. We need our kids to know that the reason Ligon is here is because of segregation.
No plans for renovation have been proposed yet. Any plan to rebuild will have to clear the school board first.
Students across the country are anxiously waiting for that final dismissal bell of the school year. And back at home, some parents are experiencing the summer scaries. Caroline Shively explains how to combat the negative impact summer break could have on their child's mental health.
As summer break approaches, many parents are concerned about increased screen time, disrupted sleep schedules, and boredom, all factors that can take a toll on their children's mental health. A new survey conducted on behalf of the Kids Mental Health Foundation reveals half of parents are just as concerned about their child's mental well-being during summer break as they are during the school year, and 1 in 10 are even more concerned.
It's likely because they're thinking about, oh no, this structure is going away. The support that I have from the school is going away.
One of the biggest worries, screen time. More than a third of parents are anxious about how much time their kids will spend in front of screens this summer.
More than 3 hours a day of social media can lead to higher risk of things like depression, anxiety, body image issues.
Dr. Ariana Howitt, Executive Clinical Director of the Kids Mental Health Foundation, points out the biggest sign indicating your child's mental health may be impacted from too much time on their devices.
They're just worrying about being back on their device, right? You may be doing something as a family and they just want to be back on their device. They can't stop thinking about it.
Screen time can also play a vital role in kids' sleep, keeping them up later than they should, especially during the summer when sleep habits are already upended.
Kids that get less sleep, they're going to be more irritable. They have a harder time learning. But we also know that it can actually cause hyperactivity, especially in the younger kids.
Another challenge children face is the lack of structured activities. Without routine, they can become more vulnerable to mental health struggles.
All summer, parents are hearing, I'm bored, I have nothing to do. We want you to set up the home environment in a way that it's okay for kids to get bored, but that they can find something to do. So think about, arts and crafts, building things, if they're able to go outside. We know that kids that sit around and do nothing for long periods of time, for many days at a time, they're going to be at higher risk for depression.
That was Caroline Shively reporting. As for that screen time, therapists recommend setting expectations about that usage right at the beginning of the summer break. And they stress that it is important for parents to follow up, be clear about the consequences if the plan is broken.
Wild weather slams the Midwest. How that affected Beyonce's concert and what fans had to do.
And George W. Bush, the artist. What inspired the former president's newest exhibit and where you can see his painting on display. You can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device. This weekend, you can celebrate meaningful art and local produce.
Time for a look at your out and about best bets, starting with a celebration of AAPI culture. Embrace culture at the Common Roots Festival. The free event in Durham tomorrow celebrates Asian American and Pacific Islander heritage. Food vendors, art installations, and live performances will take over Durham Historic Athletic Park from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m.
State Fairgrounds is hosting Got to Be NC this weekend, starting today, and it just got underway at noon. running all weekend long. See the best of what North Carolina agriculture has to offer. It features a huge number of family-friendly activities, including games, demonstrations, food, musical performances, and much more. And admission is free.
This weekend is the annual Artsplosure Festival in downtown Raleigh. Tomorrow and Sunday, downtown will turn into an art market. About 175 artists from across the country will be there. 2 stages will be set up for musicians as well. And Elizabeth will MC tomorrow and Ken Smith will MC on Sunday. WRAL is a proud community sponsor. For more information and for more family-friendly weekend activities, go to WRAL.com, search Out and About.
We are hanging on to see what this WRAL Weather Alert Day will bring. Our 5th in a row. Don't be fooled by this beautiful look at the DBAP in Durham right now, live. As I said, our 5th WRAL Weather Alert Day in a row. Kat Campbell returns with the timing of the storms that just bumped up in their level of intensity. Newark's Liberty International Airport in New Jersey isn't the only airport experiencing air traffic control problems. The FAA says another outage happened this week in Denver. Air traffic controllers there lost a communications line with pilots for about 6 minutes Monday. It follows 3 similar incidents over the past few weeks at a facility in Philadelphia responsible for guiding Newark Airport. In Denver, controllers used a backup channel, preventing any major issues. The FAA says the root cause of the recent problem is chronic understaffing, but says the agency is working to change that.
Right now we have over 3,100 trainees in the pipeline. We're going to hire 2,000 candidates this year.
And the FAA is also offering 20% bonuses to persuade veteran controllers to stay longer.
At least 9 suspected tornadoes tore across the Midwest, along with intense winds, hail, and lightning. In Chicago, Beyonce fans had to shelter in place while waiting for her to take the stage. She eventually was able to. NBC's Maggie Vespa shares some wild weather video.
Hey there from Chicago. It was a chaotic scene inside open air Soldier Field behind me. Video on social media showing those severe storms that rolled through the Midwest overnight, clashing with Beyonce's Cowboy Carter show here in Chicago. She was supposed to take the stage at 7 right when the storms came through, and video shows fans, members of the Beehive, having to take shelter as intense winds, rain, again, roared through the windy city. After several hours, eventually the show did go on. Queen Bee took her stage, and everyone, Soldier Field said, was safe. They said that was their goal throughout the evening. That being said, in other parts of the country, the destruction was intense. At least 9 reported tornadoes touching down, especially across Minnesota and Wisconsin. Crazy video out of Wisconsin shows kids on a school bus looking out the window, seeing what looks like a pretty clear funnel cloud touching down. We saw several homes and buildings destroyed, particularly in Dodge County, Wisconsin. So cleanup underway there. All of this with that severe heat holding strong in much of the South and parts of the Midwest, at least close to a dozen cities, I should say, breaking daily heat records yesterday, and that heat expected to maintain into the weekend, along with the possibility of more severe storms. Amid all of this, also a bright spot in Minnesota, with firefighters yesterday saying calming winds and just more resources showing up on site are allowing them to gain some ground against those rare wildfires that have been burning in the northern part of that state. They added they're just hoping for rain over the next couple of days so they can keep building on that progress. Maggie Vespa, NBC News, Chicago.
Yeah, scary weather there in the Midwest. Kat, you were telling me your grandmother lives in Michigan, and she was under some of those warnings.
She was placed under a tornado warning at midnight last night. As her granddaughter, I've got to call her and, check in with the family and make sure that she's safe. And luckily, she's got a basement she went into. But there were some pretty serious signatures coming out of the Midwest last night. It was definitely concerning. Back here at home today, I'm tracking local storms, too. A level 4 threat still off to our northwest, a pretty significant concern there. And here in our area, we have brand new information. We were upgraded to a level 2 severe weather threat for this evening, and that's from the Triangle North. We've been telling you for a couple days now, this is mainly going to be in our northern counties where we have the severe weather threat this evening. We could see damaging wind gusts, some hail possible, and perhaps an isolated tornado. Let's talk about the weekend. A lot of question marks here for the weekend forecast. 93 the high tomorrow, 89 on Sunday. Let me tell you what I think we're going to make changes to with the afternoon update. I still want 2 more models to come in before I make this call, but I'm thinking that we'll bump up storm chances in the morning to about 40% from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. And then during the afternoon, it's still only looks like about a 20 to 30% chance of a storm, and I think those would be either south or east of the triangle at that point. Let's take a look outside North Hills today. Looking pretty good right now. No imminent storms in the area. If you do want to do lunch outside and you like warm weather, you can do it. 85 degrees. It's nice and dry and muggy. The heat index 91 at the moment. 93 is what it feels like in Fayetteville. And check this out. Clinton feels like 97. It's 89 degrees in Fayetteville and Clinton at the moment. We've got a couple of showers to our west that are trying to hold together, so we're going to keep an eye on those. Still, the main complex of storms is way back here, so we still have a little ways to go if that holds together and gets here. Tonight, our best chance for storms from about 5 to 9 p.m. We'll be watching these for you throughout WRAL News this evening. Let's take a look at futurecasts for this evening and tonight. We could see some of these storms toward the Virginia border at 5 o'clock, maybe closer to 8, 9 o'clock around Wake County. Still a lot of uncertainty in terms of trying to pinpoint an hour that you could see the best chance of storms. But if I had to give it a go, I think that's really the most likely time frame. And then overnight, I think we'll be okay. It's as we get toward the early morning hours that we see some storms from the mountains hold together and try to push through. I think that the chance is actually going to be a little higher, though, than what this particular run of Futurecast is showing. And then during the afternoon for all the outdoor events, mainly dry. We could see a couple of storms pop up, but it may only be 1, 2, or 3 storms out there. So not all that bad for all the outdoor events happening as we head into the weekend ahead. Now, it will be quite hot this weekend, so a heads up there. We're going to be dealing with the heat, that's for sure. 93 degrees tomorrow, 89 on Sunday. By Monday, not too bad. We just have minimal rain chances Sunday and Monday. By the middle of next week, scattered storms are back, but at least it won't be quite as hot and humid, especially later next week.
All right, Kat, thank you. Unexpected discovery. City crews in Florida find a gator just chilling out in a pipe while inspecting pipes. Why the city decided to let him stay put. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. Today, a judge ordered the release of all body camera and dash camera video related to a deadly crash in Raleigh. That October crash killed Tyrone Mason. The video apparently shows troopers lying to police about what happened. It resulted in nearly 200 criminal cases being thrown out. We expect to get the video sometime next week.
Wake County Animal Center is implementing a new policy for children after a dog attack involving a young girl. The shelter says children and visitors under the age of 18 are no longer allowed to enter the adoption floor, even with an adult. This comes days after a mother and her 8-year-old daughter were attacked by a dog there. The new policy starts tomorrow.
The Canes will move on to the next round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and tickets to the Eastern Conference Final are now on sale. Last night, the Canes closed out the Washington Capitals with a Game 5 victory. The Canes will go on to play either the Florida Panthers or Toronto Maple Leafs in the next round, depending on who wins that series.
A search for cracks in a stormwater pipe in Florida revealed an unexpected guess. The city posted this video online, which drew mixed reaction. Some people nicknamed it the pipe pop, while others shrieked at the thought of an underground alligator. Well, it's not the first time these crews found an alligator in that pipe. In 2023, crews were also inspecting the pipe before the rainy season and found a 5-foot gator in there. It's pretty safe to assume this is not the same one here. The city plans to let that so-called pipe pup stay put. It isn't bothering anyone or causing any problems.
Just let it be. New artwork by former President George W. Bush is on display at his presidential center in Dallas, Texas. The exhibit, entitled A Shining City on a Hilltop, is comprised of 35 paintings. That's a nod to Southern Methodist University's nickname, the Hilltop, as well as a biblical phrase used by former President Ronald Reagan, found in Matthew, a shining city upon a hill. The Bush Center's website says the paintings celebrate the spirit of the people who make up the Bush Center and SMU's campus.
Today we have a twofer for our Pet of the Day segment, and Wolfgang and Honey are a bonded pair of rabbits looking for a home together. Wolfgang, the brown male there, is 8 years old, a little shy but full of love. His friend is 6-year-old Honey, full of spunk. Both have done well in a home with young children as well as with cats, and they enjoy roaming outside their enclosure, and they're well behaved. Wolfgang and Honey love ear rubs and strawberries. They share an adoption fee of $90. Would love to go home with you today, so you can contact the Wake County SPCA to fill out an application. Did they get left behind after Easter and they're still waiting?
I don't know, but they're so precious.
It's time. NBC News Daily is up next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Stay safe today and stay tuned to WRAL on this WRAL Weather Alert Day.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.